So words of blades that never fall, debated warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall, words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean, spirited mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night, join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance in this arena. There's no chance to escape the fight by lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance in this arena. There's no chance to escape the fight by lore. Dive in deep and search for more.
Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers! Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, think it proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
What is going on, everybody? We're back at another stream, another live. Of course, you know where you're at. You're at Spartan Network. I am your host, the Spartan, The show is called Wrestling Talk with a Spartan. Tonight we're gonna have a little different conversation, like no more show. We usually go updated stuff on wrestling, but today we're gonna have a little bit different talk. So, hey, what's going on, Greg? And Eric, what is up, my man? This is gonna be up your alley, so I expect you to be present and attended. So tonight's show, we're gonna go little verses. I know we do verses on other shows, Operation Hangout and Spark Arena, but tonight felt this is appropriate to do this because one, Wally's MIA, dealing with some computer issues, but he'll be back soon. Two, it's interesting for me to have this conversation. Um, so a little background on my wrestling experience, pro wrestling. I know a ex pro wrestler. His name is Frank Romavish. He was known as Frank the Clown or as the Doctor. So he's actually funny story is he is my mother's doctor. Interesting, isn't it? So excuse me, I remember when I first walked into his office the very first time. It was interesting and different because when I walked in there, like fucking normal office, nothing special. Okay, cool. Then I walked towards the back. I'm like, am I in a doctor's office or am I in a wrestling museum? When you first walk through, before you go to the examining room, as in the hallway, he had wrestling memorabilia everywhere, from Stone Cold, the 1, 2, 3 Kid, name it, The Rock. He had everything signed personally to the Doc or Frank. Okay, he's a wrestling fan. No big deal. So then I walk forward. I keep walking, sit down in the office. The nurse comes in, checks my mom out. I'm like, something is weird about this fucking place. I can't put my finger out. So she goes, Doc will be here with you as soon as he can. Just be patient. All right, okay, cool. No problem. No problem. Guy walks in. He's not wearing a suit. He's not wearing a white coat. He has long hair down to here. He comes in. He goes, "What up, my brother? Give me some love." I'm like, "What the fuck did I walk into?" Okay, who's the doctor? Oh, I am the doctor. Say what? Yeah. I'm like, okay. This is not gonna go well. I'm thinking to myself. Obviously, I was completely wrong. He was actually one of the best doctors in his area. And also, after he was done, he calls me in his office, like, "Come on, I'll get you get mom some samples, hook you up with some price." I'm talking about 15 plus years ago now. And mom didn't have insurance. I didn't have insurance. Insurance wasn't a thing at the time. This is before Obamacare. And so I'm talking to him. I go to him, yeah, Doc, I gotta cut you off. Like, yeah, what's up, brother? He goes to me, what's up with the rest of men be like, cool, but I don't expect that to be in the doc's office. Are you a fan? He goes, I'm better than a fan. Okay, please educate me. I'm gonna tell him, I used to wrestle professionally. Like, excuse me, you wrestle professionally? I'm like, who are you? He goes, I'm Frank the Clown, or as known as the Doctor. I'm like, the name sounds familiar, but the face doesn't. And I said to him, the face sounds familiar, Frank the Clown, but you don't look familiar. He goes, oh, that's easy to explain. Oh, how so? I went to him. I used to wear a mask. Okay. This is getting more a little down the rabbit hole now. I'm thinking about this guy is pulling my chain so fucking hard. Let's see how far I'm gonna pull this chain. All right. And I went to him, prove it. Okay. Oh, I got a kick out of this. He pops his big book out, goes, here's me, here's me, here's me, here's me. I'm like, okay, you're not bullshitting me. You're actually a wrestler. I go, I don't, bro. I went to him like, you're a doctor and a pro wrestler. Like, please help me out here, bro. He goes to me, Very simple. He goes to me, the reason I was Frank the Clown, I wear a mask. I was going through medical school. And I'll be honest with you. He goes, medical school is an arm and a leg. Oh, yeah, of course. I know that. He goes to me, I was wearing the mask. So it didn't scare away my patients. Like, hey, I'm a doctor at day and I'm wrestling at night. It doesn't work like that in life. Okay, I'll give you that. I will give you that much, bro. So, excuse me. As I got to know him, we talked about wrestling. We chopped up pretty well with wrestling a lot. Recently, I went up to him. We're talking, and he knows about the podcast, and we're scheduling soon to have an interview with him and everything. Little backstory. When is a whole different story. Time is the hardest part. He goes to me, "Oh, you do know about the indie scene down here? Like, is it indie scene up here? I didn't know it was an indie scene around here. And I know I'm butchering the name, guys. I apologize." He goes to me, "Yeah, one of the cousins of the Usos runs it." Really? Please hook me up, bro. So we were talking. So this idea popped in two ways. Our president, aka Paul, came up with this idea a while back. Is he A wants to go see an indie wrestling match? I'm not denying that. I like to see that too. B, the versus of Indian and pro wrestling. That is the conversation of the night. These guys put their bodies through hell. You know that. Like Frank was at the moment when he was actually when he stepped down as a pro wrestler, he continued working with the wrestlers as the doctor, legit doctor. I'm talking about. He's I didn't know this too recently. Anytime these guys have to wrestle, they still have to get proved per state, like a fight license. Like if you're fighting in Vegas, you gotta prove it by the doctors. Jersey, New York, PA, Maryland, DC, and just it's the same concept. Believe it or not, I did not know that. Too recently, I went, okay, that makes sense now to me. So as we are talking, he goes to me when McFoley went through the cage during the Hell in a Cell with Undertaker. He was the doctor who took care of him there. And I actually been meaning to look it up. I cannot show you guys, but I can at least tell you the timestamp if I can catch a glimpse of him. But I doubt it because it goes so fast. But that is a interesting. So the conversation tonight versus how do these guys get to the point they're wrestling in the indie scenes? Do they even make money in indies? I will say no, they don't make money. They're barely making any money, but they are making money more as a pro wrestler in a big company like WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, and so on. If you want to consider Impact Wrestling as a big company, that is the question here tonight. Some of these companies might be on TV, but they're not huge companies. Like ROH. Do you consider as a big company as WWE? That is the question I want to ask everybody tonight. In the chats, please tell me which are the top companies in order you think are the biggest to the lowest. WWE is the biggest, you think, and so on. So, and the other question: has anybody in the chats has been to a match? I'm curious. Have you ever been to? I'm not talking about a professional match, a WWE. I'm talking about an indie match. That is the thing. And I am planning to go to one very, very soon. And I'd love to go see one, to be honest, you guys. It's something that fascinates me to see the difference. I've never been to any matches. I'm a huge fan. And I'll be straight up with you guys. The prices of these wrestlers are ridiculous. You do not see me going to pay him that much. So, what is a good conversation? It's a big one, I think. So, I'm actually reviewing the footage right now to see where. Let me see if you guys see him at all. He told me he just when he went through the cage, he was the first one in there. So these guys go through hell. Obviously, health insurance is not a thing in wrestling. We all know that. All right, let me wind this back a little more. All right, let's see. I'm gonna take it there. All right. Let me wind it a little more back. Throws him off the cage. All right. Let's see what Eric said. Okay. I went to an indie show in Houston, Texas many years ago, but I don't remember anyone. No. I do know some of the old wrestlers do go to indies shows and wrestle. And hang on a second. Is that him? No. So you can see some old school guys. I know in one instance, I remember when I was working in Scranton, I saw who was, and I didn't see. I was gonna go to this indie match, but some big names were there. Rob Van Dam was supposed to be there, and some other ones. I don't remember exactly what, but I remember it was a signing, and man, it was like I was excited to go to, but I couldn't make it because of my work schedule, and that kind of sucked, to be honest with you guys. So the difference about the indie stuff, it is small. The promotions are very small. They're barely scraping by. The tickets are cheap as hell. They're like 20, 30 bucks maybe. But what are they guys are putting themselves through if they make it? That is the other question. I wonder what the other guys come in. What will they think? Let me see what they are actually. I'm just curious. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. So, actually, let me text one more person. All right, sweet. Paul is on the way up here in a few minutes, and we're gonna have to chop it up with him. So they put themselves in bodies. The storyline. Here's a great example, guys. When indie goes wrong, if you guys remember about what was it 6 months ago, maybe less, when you had this professional wrestler go against this MMA fighter, his MMA fight destroyed him. Right, the guy was kind of screwed up in the head. Things can go wrong. These guys put themselves in harm's way for pennies, nothing. Pennies. All right, here's the footage. Let me see if I can catch them. I'm gonna time stamp it, you guys. Holy shit, that is him. A younger version of him. So if you guys look up a Hell in a Cell, time stamp is going to be about 11.1150 feet. You're gonna see a guy in a gray in sneakers. You can barely see him, but that is Frank Roman Scabber jumping in there and trying to help him out after he goes through the cage. That gotta hurt. I don't care who the hell you are. That gotta fucking hurt. Going through the cage like that, it can't. Imagine if you did that in the Indies. You have nobody to. You have no insurance. You have no money fallback because you have a full time job on top of that. And if you're out of commission for a few days, you're screwed financially and everything. I do remember watching an interview with The Undertaker. I can't remember it was with if I'm trying to think. Don't remember if Mick Foley was there. And Undertaker was saying point blank, the only thing he was saying to Mick Foley is stay down. Don't get up. And this son of a bitch was starting getting up over and over and over. So, Eric, unfortunately, for some reason, it does not allow me to repost it on Facebook to another group. But on your end, you can more happy to do that. I don't know why it doesn't let me repost to the different groups. I'm trying to figure that out still. It's probably something stupid in the settings I got to figure out. I just have to sit down and figure that out. I'll be happy. Please post it. But when you're screwed up, you gotta work. That is the difference. Versus these there he is. Let's get him in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president. Mr. President, how are we doing tonight on this lovely Friday night?
I'm just pretty busy. Just starting to prepare for this trip that my wife are going on. So just had to do
When
some
you guys
last minute
find out?
shopping with that. So just running back. Monday, like early Monday morning, like we have like a 7 a.m. flight. So which is
Okay.
actually good because just given with all the delays and TSA stuff, I'd rather get there super early and rather than being in peak travel time and deal with those type of delays and everything. So hopefully we'll have a
I
smooth
actually
in and out.
knew somebody today that was flying to Florida actually, and she was delayed. And she not delayed in the waiting room. She was delayed for 3
Mhm.
hours. They was not moving the
Yeah.
plane. Like, yo, you guys, you're stuck here now. Imagine you got
Yeah.
delayed
Yeah.
in the
So
plane, bro.
again,
That's the worst.
yeah. So I'm hoping that the situation will be a bit more. Yeah, we actually leave at 6:30 in the morning. So hopefully
All
that'll
right.
be hopefully that'll be good for us.
All right. Let's get the next guy in here. My man Anton's in the house.
Gentlemen, what's going on?
What's up,
good,
my
sir?
brother? How
Jersey
are you
stand
tonight?
up.
Staying
Listen, you
busy
guys
as
might be
always. Take
Jersey
care of family
brothers.
business.
You guys might be
Well, we're
Jersey
both from
brothers.
Jersey.
But me and him are Samsung brothers now.
Yeah, I saw the dreaded green text thread. You were such a beautiful shade of blue for so long, and then I saw the green switch over. I was like, it's like you switched to the dark side. With that.
Shut the
Hey,
You
fuck
switched to
wrong,
the dark
Samson.
side.
Ain't
Might
But
as well
nothing
have
wrong
had a
if
with
you
red. Might as well have
remember
red.
remember our Apple versus Android show, you haven't mentioned it too. Android is a better product for your money you get.
I didn't argue for that, but I'm sure Anton did. So
I spoke for Android.
Anton's the Sith Lord, and he lured you to the dark side. That was
Oh
very cool.
wow. Well, I
Yeah.
know. Well, forgive me for taking him away from the evil Cord Empire. All right,
It wasn't him.
we'll just leave it at
Okay,
that.
so if you remember, I said in the show, I had Samsung before it for
Yes,
a
you
while.
did. You did, and then you switched to Apple,
Yeah,
and then now
and I
you're
got the
back
watch
with
on top
Samsung.
of that.
Nice.
And I got
Nice.
really fast. I got to watch tonight because it was delayed in delivery, and for using for like 20 minutes, I can see a difference from the last generation I used. It was back to third generation to now.
Okay.
Night. So, all right, like ready to chop it up, guys.
All right.
Sure.
I'm ready.
All right, so indie versus pro wrestling, WWE most likely. Let's start with this. First of all, I want to ask you this major question.
Okay.
If you have named top dog to lower dog from the companies we know, we have,
Okay.
I'll let you go first. WWE, AEW, RH, and so on. Which one do we consider top dog? It's a pros, and the lowest is completely like they're on TV, but they're actually more indie than anything. Go ahead, Anton.
Okay. All right. Top dog, definitely WWE.
Mhm.
Next, I will put AEW. Ring of Honor after that, because I believe Ring of Honor is associated with AEW. And then TNA. And then I know there's I think AAA, which is Lucha Libre. That's also
But
on. And
WWE
then
owns them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they bought them a few months back.
Oh, wow. I must have missed out on that. I missed that memo. But it's WWE, AEW with ROH, and then TNA. And then, of course,
Mhm.
the independents.
Okay, what about you, Paul?
Um, that's a
If
that's
you're
a
familiar,
tough
because I know
question,
you're not current.
right? But that's a tough question for me in that when you say best, I don't know what you mean by that. Like obviously
Best meaning like
WWE has the best, production value and whatnot, and they have the fireworks and they're selling out whole football stadiums and all that kind of stuff. So again, as far as the technical part, as far as the number of cameras, as far as the simply the glitz of it, like it is the apex of the industry, and quite frankly, it's been that for some time. It probably hit that mark probably in, I'd say, by 87, 88, 89, like, certainly before the 90s, because the only people who really rivaled WWF at the time was the NWA or WCW. And, but that was a sinking ship. And I know they had their thing in the 90s with the Monday Night Wars and whatnot, but again, WWE won out again. So I very few times have I seen them unseated, and ultimately they won out. But in terms
Mhm.
of like wrestling, like what do I like watching the most? I would probably have to say Ring of Honor. As far as the product, as far as like I could just sit and just enjoy the athleticism and the in-ring work. Ring of Honor is right up there, and I know Eric, he had mentioned some of the Japanese promotions, New Japan Wrestling and whatnot. I mean, it's certainly a very but it's inspired because I know for years Ring of Honor had a connection with a lot of the Japanese promotions. A lot of those Japanese guys will come to Ring of Honor to wrestle. So there's a bond there, and the styles were kind of similar. That strong style made its way into Ring of Honor. So so for me, as far as what product to watch, AEW I never got with at all because all I
Really?
saw was a bunch of retread guys who either got disgruntled or left the WWE, or they went from New Japan or whatever, and they were just like on their second life. Like as far as like Apex talent, like I never knew anybody who came out there. You had CM Punk went there for a minute, and he was there like not even a few months before he got kicked out over there. So it was just, Chris Jericho. I mean, there was like a lot of guys who were sort of over the hill, but it kind of gave them a new life. I would put AEW on the same level as what was the one that Carter had for a while? That
TNA.
woman
TNA.
TNA. Like I would put Ring of
Also known as
Honor
Impact
kind of on
Wrestling at one
that.
point.
Yeah, so I would put those kind of on that tier. I never thought that AEW would rival WWE. It's like the NFL and USFL in my view, in terms of the product. But as far as like I said, what I enjoy watching, yeah, Ring of Honor
Mhm.
is definitely is up there for me. So I would kind of rank them in that area. Or like I said, I don't watch a lot of the Japanese promotions, but just from what I've seen of them, I mean, yeah, it's a very, if you want more sort of realistic type of shoot matches and whatnot, I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong watching Japanese wrestling.
The
Yeah,
one
so
thing I'll
Eric had
give
a good
New
point here. Go ahead, Anton. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You
Sorry
go
about
first.
that. No, the one
No,
thing
you're fine.
I'll respect about New Japan is a lot of the guys that were in WWE and also WCW at one point would all do New Japan, just to not only expand their brand, but also in ways to fine tune themselves and learn new techniques. And when you look at the list of guys who wrestled in New Japan, even though it was for a short period of time, there was a long list of guys, not just Chris Jericho, not just Lance Storm, Rob Van Dam, or Chris Benoit, but even guys like Bret Hart wrestled there at one point. I believe the Undertaker did things for a few months. Ric Flair, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, um, AJ Styles, of course, and a lot of the guys in the Bullet Club as well. Anderson and Gallows, as well as I believe Finn Balor. So a lot of those guys use New Japan to work on some techniques and get a little bit better
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
same time before going back to their regular promotions.
I
So
would
New
agree with
Japan
that.
was kind
Yeah,
of like,
yeah,
if you want to get like if you're good and if you want to get better, go to New Japan. Because a lot of the stories, a lot of the techniques and everything they did, and when you look at some of the guys when they did New Japan, they went better, a lot better, better in the technical aspect, better when it comes to their in-ring style and their promotions. For some reason, it just they found a way to be at that next level and be a little bit better than you didn't realize. Sometimes they don't even have to be there for so long. Sometimes just maybe in there for like maybe anywhere between 3 and 6 months. And then when they leave New Japan and come back to whether it was WWF at the time or WCW, you can see the difference. It's almost
yeah,
like, oh wow, these guys got a little bit crisper, a little bit better, a little bit faster, and better with endurance and everything. So, cover your mouth. But you can see the differences almost.
yeah.
So a lot of people don't know this. Is I use CM Punk, for example. Not all of these guys, but some of these guys. CM Punk was one of the guys who started on the indie scenes before
Yeah.
NXT. I think Eric said ADA, NWA slash TNA. I don't know about TNA part, but I do know NWA. He started that. So he started his routes very small, and he grew. And he got very popular very fast, and got to the point WWE got caught in their radar. Like, well, we gotta see who this kid is. Back in the day, that's the only way you got WWE's radar. Once how good you are and how popular you are. That's how money made back in the day. Like it was one
Well, yeah.
wrestler.
Well, it depends on how far you go back. I
Right.
mean, before that, you got popular by being the best in your promotion. I mean, if you went to the territory days, they would, especially when McMahon started his great expansion, he would look for
Mhm.
the top talent in NWA or Mid South or AWA. I mean, Hogan came from AWA. He basically lured him away from Vern Gagne to get him there. Houston. I mean, so I think that they always had their eye. At least Vince Jr. always had his eye on, if you would like the champion of whatever territory in the NWA era, you were on his radar. I mean, Randy Savage, he had his you could almost call his dad's promotion like an indie promotion. But he was, certainly making waves there, and McMahon saw the talent. A lot of those indies had TV deals back then, so you can see who was like the top dog there, and then you made a decision. So it was almost kind of easy for you to kind of pluck from those territories and say who was there. I think now, it might have got a little bit harder, given that all those territories fell by the wayside. That how do you know like who's really good? Because they did the work. It's almost like McMahon, like, I don't have to do the work. You guys did the work to develop the talent or whatever, and I just picked it up, and then I may rebrand it or repackage it or whatever. He came up with the gimmicks, but these guys were forged, if you will, either in those territories or in those indies, and he just was able to pick it up. I don't, like I said, but I don't know what the deal is now, just given that there's so few promotions and how much you're gonna, how much are you going to fleece these other promotions. But it seems like when AEW started, it was almost like an anti WWE kind of vibe. It's almost the saying, look, I don't care how much WWE is going to pay me. I'm trying to build this AEW brand. So it was like Chris Jericho. He was like, I'm not going back because he saw this as a new opportunity to do something fresh. So there was like an anti WWE vibe, and now I don't know if that still exists. But or how much talent has been poached from AEW, especially with the NXT brand. But certainly that was a vibe for that promotion in particular, that they were going to try to be the anti WWE. And again, but at this point, clearly, and that's the thing too. It's like you can't throw money like Khan, and his dad's a billionaire. He owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, and just like Carter with the TNA, the money runs out. You're not going to beat the WWE just by throwing money at it. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It's like, hey, we'll give you a blank check or whatever. But all
You gotta have the writers too.
Money wise, even Ted Turner, who had more money than Vince, he couldn't keep it going for a while.
That's true. But and the thing is, one of the things that also helped the McMahons was they went up to Canada, and when they checked out Stampede Wrestling in Calgary, that's how the Harts got into the business.
Right.
Because Stu Hart was already a legend in Canada. A lot of the best Canadian wrestlers all came through the dungeon. And of course, he had his promotion basically in and around Calgary, and he had his family involved. Brett was involved. I think his other son Smith was involved for a period of time. Owen, and then
he had like 8 sons. I think they all wrestled, right?
Yeah, I think and all of them were involved in some way, shape, or form, whether as the wrestlers, as referees, the timekeeper, the crew putting together the rings and taking them down, things like that. Everyone in the family was involved in that business. And the fact that McMahon was willing to go up to Canada and look at what the Hart family had going, and recruited Brett into the business. And then, of course, his brother-in-law, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, came involved as well. And then, of course, the British Bulldogs. And one individual most people didn't realize that was also a family in the Hart family, Rowdy Roddy Piper. He was also training up at the dungeon at one point. And most people never knew that.
Yeah.
So he was able to find a good number of wrestlers, big name, people that became brand names north of the border. And then after that, you look at, like I said, Lance Storm, Adam Copeland, aka Edge, Christian, any wrestler that was north of the border, the majority of them all went through the dungeon. And even though I know guys like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, are real popular north of the border, and they didn't train at the dungeon, they opened the door. The Hart family opened the door for all those other Canadian-born wrestlers to come through and make a name for themselves as well. And sometimes you forget, no matter whether a babyface or a heel, whenever the WWE is up in Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, they're heroes. No matter what, they're icons. I mean, that's how big and that's how popular a lot of the Canadian wrestlers were, and the Hart family were the ones that laid that foundation for that.
So I want to backtrack for 1 second. I want to post that about AEW that has a second coming of WWE. Not all wrestlers are like you have what's his name?
John Moxley?
Not John Moxley. He's a wrestler in WWE, actually, if you think about it.
Oh, he's currently in WWE or was in WWE?
He was part of the Shield.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, John Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose.
Yeah. So trying to remember his name now. JDF.
Okay.
JDF? You know what I'm talking about? Shit. Can't remember his name now. My brain just froze on a sudden. Hang on.
You had a brain fart?
Yeah, I'm having a really bad fart. He acts like an ass with that guy, but he is actually a great wrestler overall. MJF. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
He's originally AEW brand. Has no
Really?
affiliation with WWE. Nothing. Yeah, there are some other wrestlers that originally started in WWE. Like Penta and
Yeah.
Ray Phoenix, for
Mm-hmm.
example, and they're both great freaking wrestlers. Definitely Penta.
Mm.
Penta's taking it to the next level, with Luchadors. I think he's following Rey Mysterio's,
Going
swing
into
slap.
Lucha Libre, but if you look at some of the
Mhm.
guys that did the Lucha Libre as well in WCW, a lot of them were all cruiserweights. Ultimo Dragon, Juventud Guerrero, Psychosis, Super Crazy. All those guys still kept the traditions of wearing the mask, except Juventud. He was one of the few luchadors. He was I think he was one of the few other than Ray to take the mask off and still be successful. So a lot of those guys that did Lucha Libre, and most of these guys were under 175, or most of these guys were all cruiserweights, basically. A lot of them were well under 185. But these guys were fast, they were lightning quick, they had agility, and it worked. It worked. And I think a few guys also trained doing Lucha Libre style as well, too, to help with their dexterity. With things
I'll
like
give you another
dexterity and
example,
balance.
Anton. Omega.
Really?
He is not. Yeah, he's not WWE original either. He is a AEW
No, he's not.
original.
There was
Yeah.
another one. There's another guy.
Well, no, I
remember.
don't know about original. I mean, he had a long career in Japan, for a number of
Right.
years. He wasn't a
When
he wasn't. I mean,
original,
he's a veteran. I mean, it's not like these guys like some
not disagreeing with that,
21-year-old. Yeah.
yeah. When I say original, he didn't come from from AEW. From WWE, like Cody Rhodes and Chris Jericho and some of the other guys,
Right.
CM
One-
Punk and so on.
There's one guy I
Go ahead.
remember in TNA. I think it's still wrestling. The Abyss. I don't think he ever did. I don't think the Abyss ever was in WWE. I can't remember.
He works from now. What are you talking about?
The Abyss?
Yeah, he's in backstage. He's production now.
Really?
Yeah. If you watch Rio, WWE's Rio, the behind the scenes stuff, he's one of the producers now.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
So, as a wrestler, no, he never wrestled WWE.
Right.
Does he work for WWE? Yes. That is a very fun conversation because he didn't wrestle, but he works for WWE.
Right.
So, as a production man, one of the production guys.
Another wrestler that wrestled WCW for a period of time, and even though he did wrestle WWE, he was kind of like a mid card, but does a lot behind the scenes. Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
Because I remember when he was WCW, him and Eddie Guerrero will go at it. They had a very good rivalry.
Yeah, classic man. Yeah.
They had a great
They
rivalry.
had that luchador style, right? I mean, they did some crazy stuff back then.
Yeah, Dean Malenko owned the nickname the Man of 1,000 Holds. He was that technically sound.
Right.
Then when he was part of that group that made the defection to WWE of that storyline of the Radicals, him, Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn,
right,
and Chris Benoit. I mean, it worked, but the thing that sucked is he got put to the backs. He got pulled to the wayside and was in the background. And it was either Eddie Guerrero, because I mean, nothing against Eddie. Eddie was great on the mic, had that charisma. Chris Benoit was very technically sound. Of course, Canadian wrestler connecting to the hearts. Perry Saturn was very good. I remember he was part of Raven's Flock at one point, but I didn't like what they made of him and the caricature. And then all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden, Dean Malenko got pushed to the backside.
Yeah.
And you rarely saw him, and now he's one of the guys that works in the back, helping get the wrestlers prep and train and everything else.
Yeah. Plus, he was probably the smallest of that bunch. I mean, the only guy who was smaller than him was probably Rey Mysterio. I mean, again, I think that with some of those guys, I mean, certainly having certain divisions, or the one thing that's certainly with a lot of these indies or smaller promotions is that the guys are generally smaller.
Right.
But Vince, certainly, he's always liked his big muscular guys. He wanted Hulk Hogan. He wanted, the Sid Vicious. He wanted the Ultimate Warrior. He wanted, physically imposing guys. I don't think he was ever a fan of having these, lightweight guys that to be in the top. So even with all of, because I thought that when Taz came from when he came from ECW, I thought he was like, he's going to be a monster because he was just wrecking everybody in ECW.
Right.
But when he got to WWE, again, the size was noticeable, and you're just not going to have this guy just taking these guys out. Like I said, I don't know the fact that Rey Mysterio, maybe he was a lot more athletic and he can certainly use a lot more of that luchador style is what allowed him to endure all that time. But I mean, come on, he's fighting Big Show. I mean, that to me is a bridge.
That's a serious mismatch right there.
I can't, but he won. Or at least they had him, competitive in the match. I'm just saying that, but again, he was certainly able to do some things physically that maybe those other guys couldn't do, which may have kept him around for a while. But it just from a your mind can only wrap around certain things. It's like I want to see Ali and Frazier, because those two guys are going, but I don't want to see Ali fighting. I don't care who it is, Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't want to see that.
No,
because it's just not going to be.
There.
Yeah, it's just not going to be competitive. So, I always, like just kind of see a good pairing of people. But Vince likes his big muscular guys. That's always been his thing.
The one wrestler I remember,
you're 100% right. He's always been like that. He's always been like, it's when you see people like Mick Foley or some other people, it's rare. It's very rare.
Yeah. One guy that I could say that surprised a lot of people, Bam Bam Bigelow. Look how he was big, but
he was huge.
Okay, yeah, I'm being okay, I'm trying to be a little friendly, all right? But at the same time, he was agile.
He can move, yeah.
How can someone that big be that agile?
Yeah. You know who was pretty agile also? I got to give him credit. Depending on what name you want to give him, but Big Bubba Rogers or the Big Boss Man.
Oh yeah,
he was a big guy too, and he could move around. Like he was when he was Big Bubba Rogers and back in the WCW or NWA days. He didn't do a lot at all. He just kind of stood there, like this immovable brick. But when you saw him in WWF as the Big Boss Man, he had a lot of flexibility. I mean, he could do it all also. So that was a surprise.
But I think what those guys did, they made it possible for Bill DeMott, aka Hugh Morris. Big guy, very flexible, very agile. And one of his finishing moves was the no laughing matter. And the fact that you see a guy like 300 plus pounds jump off the top rope like he could, that agile, it was like,
dude, look at what's his name? The Usos brother, father, Rasiski or Rikishi, whatever his name is. I met him personally. Paul, you met him with me, right? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, I got a picture with him actually. Yeah.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, he's not a small guy. I'm saying when the stink face comes in, he's a real stink face.
Yeah.
Wow.
My ass stinks, but
oh gosh, TMI. Gosh.
Wow.
It's oven. It works great when your girlfriend's pissed at you.
Oh God! Oh my God!
But anyway,
we have children. Don't we have children? We have children on the show also. I mean,
God! Yeah,
she can't hear anything. He has the headphones on. She's fine.
She can't hear anything. So
I'm just saying, but
she's gonna learn eventually. When I learn from Uncle Sparta.
Oh, that's your justification for everything. They're gonna learn eventually.
But seriously,
that's his rationale for everything.
Yeah, this is the youngest of my tribe right here. But one thing, but Boss Man, Bam Bam, Hugh Morris, the fact that these guys can do.
Dude, look at the guy who works in the Vision right now. I can forget his name. His finished move is a tsunami. He just literally just flops on him.
Wow.
He's not that wrestler either.
I think sometimes with some of these guys, it's like you want to see them, like a lot of the guys, you want to see them go down to NXT to get a little bit better. You don't want them like I remember Peter, you said you don't want these guys rushed up too quickly just because,
Good.
okay, they got a little bit of something, but don't rush them up so soon because stay in NXT so they can continue being fine tuned and everything else. Another wrestler that was kind of well, he wasn't as agile, but he could definitely move for his size, Samoa Joe. And I feel like WWE wasted his
They
talent
did. Yeah, I agree with that.
because I remember when he was with TNA, he was
wrecking people. I mean, he was absolutely wrecking people.
He was a wrecking ball.
Yeah,
he was a wrecking ball.
no doubt, no
The
doubt.
one thing I'll give TNA, they had the X division, and it seemed like just run loose, do your thing. That was the one thing that worked with TNA. They had the X division, they had the 6-sided ring, and that was definitely something like you never thought you would ever see in wrestling. But they found a way to make it work. And when you have Samoa Joe there, and the times I see some of his matches, he was just a one-man wrecking crew. It was like, what's good, Braxton? He was a one-man wrecking crew, and you sitting there like,
but again, it points to just kind of recenter this back on the discussion. I mean, it's just like baseball, right? You can be the big fish in a very small pond. You don't realize how big the universe is. Think about the path if you want to become a professional baseball player. Now, I know I got friends of mine that got their kids in 12 ball, 13 ball, T-ball, just the path up. You got, different leagues, East Coast League, and, you got all these divisions and leagues you got to go with, and then you got the college route.
Yeah.
And a lot of college players don't play professional. In fact, most college players don't play professional baseball. And then you got your minors. I mean, people, I think we especially in this country, I think we're so spoiled, as it were, when it comes to when a guy makes it to the major leagues, and we're so apt to call the guy a scrub or something.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, to go from minors, single A, double A, triple A baseball,
Yeah.
and you've had guys, just like with these indie promotions, you've had guys who've been triple A or double A players for their whole career. Like they never got the call to the majors, or if they did get the call up, they weren't evaluated maybe long enough to see. But you got 35-year-old, almost 40-year-old players still playing single A, double A, triple A baseball.
The problem with baseball and these unwritten rules, they feel like you got to earn your keep. And the thing that also bothers me about baseball, you get these kids that get drafted out of high school. Okay, they choose not to go to college. They choose to go the major league route. They're 18 years old, and by the time they're playing in the show, they're maybe like 21, 22, 23 years old. I'm like,
right.
You spent this money, you bring this, you drafted this high school kid. You're thinking this kid is going to be playing on the roster already. No. Quiet. And then what happens? They're toiling down a Class A AA ball. And then after that, you got them playing in Arizona in the fall leagues. Or you got them playing.
But at least there's a look. I mean, I would put it a little bit different from wrestling in that, again, you still if you are knocking the ball out the ballpark, or throwing strikes and striking everybody out, I don't care where you're at, they're gonna find you there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that it's but I just want to use that as a comparison because it's still hard.
Yeah.
Because you can put the numbers up, and more times than not, they will let you advance to the to the upper levels if you're that good.
Yeah.
Because everybody's looking for the next talent or whatever. You're knocking in AAA, if you're knocking 30 balls out of the ballpark every year, it's like and if you don't want them, like the farm team that if you don't want them, I'll take them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely more merit based. With wrestling, it's so many different layers. It's not only your wrestling ability, can you do a promo, how you look, all these factors get into play, and it's definitely much more political, I think, in terms of, again, who who sees you and whatnot. But again, I mean, everything on from baseball players, from high school on, all your stuff is on. They got all these websites or whatever, these sites that keep track of every player who's even considering playing at another level. All that stuff is charted out, and you can
Yeah.
see and you can do your research and find players in the region or whatever and get their numbers and statistics. Wrestling, it is a who you know type of business, and
Yeah.
how many guys got the opportunities to be where they are, or some guys who bypass the process altogether, like the Miz. He was an MTV Real World
Yeah.
star,
Yeah.
and he got on
People
Tough
hated him
Enough,
for that
and he
reason.
kind of
Yeah.
bypassed
A lot of guys. A lot of guys hated him.
a lot. In fact, a lot of those guys from his class, because you had the guy who was what's that, Maybach, or who's that,
Ryback.
Ryback. He was part of that class. You had a
Mhm.
couple guys who were in that class of Tough Enough that made it at least to some pro promotion, not the WWE. But a lot of those guys bypass that also. So again, it's not as meritorious to go from an indie promotion to a developmental promotion to an affiliate to a, but the path though is still similar to that. I'm using
Yeah.
MLB because it's kind of similar. There's levels to this.
Right.
You got your fall leagues, your winter leagues, like you said.
Yeah.
You got these then you got the minors, the leagues that are associated with actual
Right.
major league ball clubs.
And then you had the independent ones where
Correct. And you
they had no
still have
affiliation.
to,
You still
right.
gotta earn your
And you
keep at the
still
same
got to
time.
ball out and try to compete to get a job there. So I think I would say it wouldn't be surprised, and we know the stats for any of these guys playing these other sports. We know we've done sports shows. Just like less than 2% of top D1 college athletes go professional.
Right.
And prior to that, it's still like less than 2%. In fact, we shared this in one of the sports shows that we did. It's less than 2% of people who are the top players in high school play D3 ball.
Right.
Think about it. We're not talking D1. We're talking Division 3 ball. It's a very small. If you talk about football, basketball, like those elite sports,
Right.
the class is fewer still who get through that funnel. And I think what most of these independent wrestlers, and again, I've seen, like I said, I haven't been to a show, but I've watched a ton of documentaries on the indies and these guys, and it's just something you gotta just love it. Like it's almost like if you're thinking about one day I'm gonna make it to one of the major promotions, and like I said, you don't have the territorial system, at least in the territory days.
Right.
You had a lot of different places you could work and move around and develop your skill set and get there. Now there's nothing. And so for these guys to be able to earn opportunity, I mean, it literally is like you're hitting the lottery if you decide to, you want to say, okay, I'm looking to make it in. Most of these guys don't. Most of these guys have 9-to-5 jobs.
Yep.
And most of these guys, a lot of them don't have health insurance. A lot of these guys are blue collar also. So the fact that Pete, you open up the show talking about the doctor, and he was, able to still become a doctor and compete. A lot of these guys are blue collar, construction or seasonal work or something like that. I mean, they're not making significant monies. They're living 9 to 5.
They're making pennies.
Yeah.
And
some of them are bouncers. Some of them working as
no
bouncers.
insurance.
Some of them working as bouncers at nightclubs.
Exactly.
Some of them are college students. Some of them are.
And some of these guys, like I said, they're not even like. Let's face it. Most of these guys don't even look like athletes. I mean, to be real with you, you know what I mean? Like now, you see like everybody in WWE, and this is definitely one thing that's changed over the years. Back in the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, if you watch any of that old footage, very few guys had abs. Very few. Tony Atlas, Ultimate Warrior, very few guys, Rick Rude.
Yeah.
Very few guys were like cut.
Rick Martel.
But
he just celebrated a birthday. He just turned 70.
Right. But now it's like everybody on the main roster pretty much is cut. Everyone's got abs. I don't see how they do it, because again, you talk about less sub 10% body fat, and yet you going out there competing 300 days a year. I don't see how you do that and still, I'm surprised you don't have as many guys having serious health problems being able to operate at such a low body fat. But that's one of the requirements. You got to look the part. You can't come like Wahoo McDaniel. I was just watching a documentary on him. I mean, again, you can't be looking like 300 pounds of fat, and even if you can move and do all that kind of stuff, he wouldn't sell. Like a lot of these. Harley Race, 7-time NWA champion, would not sell today. Nobody wants to see a body like that, to be totally honest with you. So so for these guys, it's going to be a struggle for them to have any kind of pathway, which is one of the reasons. And I remember the conversation we had, Pete, when we left Comic-Con this past year. Man, David and I kind of got into a little bit because he was kind of anti WWE, but I'm like, at least with NXT, at least with the developmentals, at least there's a path for some.
Right.
Yes, it's a corporate path, and maybe you don't, some people don't work in corporate. You know what I mean?
Right.
Corporate America or anything where it's like a system like that. Some people, they're too rebellious for that. They don't want to abide by the rules, and they want to kind of be their own persons. And again, back in the rebel days of wrestling, or the wrestling era,
Yeah.
you could be a rebel. You could be a beer drinking, spitting,
Tobacco
cussing
spitting, yeah.
dude, and you just sold on your personality, and that was it. But now, yeah, and you sold because of your ability. Your promos were your own. They weren't telling you what to say, and you were essentially yourself. Like, you weren't a character. You
Right.
had to be whatever that was. Dusty Rhodes was Dusty Rhodes. You know what I mean? You had to be that guy. Now, again, with the corporate machine that said, "Oh yeah, we're going to change your character. You're going to wear polka dots. You're going to do this, and you're going to do all these things. You're going to put a mask on or makeup, or you're going to come out like a woman, or whatever they tell you to do. It's like you do." And I understand that's not going to rock with everybody. That not everyone's going to be down with that, but at least there's a path
Right.
that you can go on that has some upside, and there's a clear line. These indies. I don't see where the path is. I mean, you can do that, work your skills, and also, to be honest, from what I've seen, because I used to have an app. In fact, there's still an app. I think it was called Fight, was the app, and basically it was a streaming service that had a lot of combat sports on it, including a lot of wrestling promotions. So Ring of Honor was on there for a long time.
Oh,
But
really?
there were all kinds of promotions. I mean, who was having a brain freeze. Sucker, who used to say sucker all the time.
Booker T.
Booker T. He had a local promotion down
I heard
in his
about
area.
that. I
And
remember hearing
again, but
about
it
that
was
one point.
like they're doing these things in barns, in like I said, in high school gyms, in whatever. And again, a lot of these guys, again, you're getting your comeupping. The wrestling isn't that good. And it's not supposed to necessarily be good, because, like I said, these guys, you're trying to develop a craft.
Right.
You look at the guys who are coming in. A lot of these guys are not in necessarily the best physical shape. They're trying to, find a way. Either guys are super small. I mean, they're smaller than they're Peter size or smaller,
Damn.
and they're trying to get into wrestling. I mean, they're trying to, develop a name. And some guys are like, 350-pound overweight guys who are trying to do something, could barely move around.
I remember those.
Same thing with the ladies. I mean,
remember.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I remember like some of the bigger names that I remember from back in the day. They still do the indie circuit from time to time. One person I found out that I remember that was still doing the indie circuit every now and then was the Honky Tonk Man. I mean, he is an official Elvis impersonator, so he has the look and he lives the look all year round.
Mhm.
But the fact that I found out that he was still wrestling every now and then, maybe he would do maybe 30 days out the year.
Yeah.
Maybe between 30 to 60 days out
Oh,
the
well,
year.
you got guys now.
And he
You
was
got
still in shape, and he was still in good shape.
Yeah.
Wyndham Rotunda, aka IRS. Bray Wyatt.
oh, you got a lot of guys. But
he
again,
was still wrestling too. He looked like he was still in shape.
but
And he was still doing a couple of shows, maybe 2.5 months out the year.
But I get it, and it's to me, it's like any other player in any other sport that has played too long. You got the Rock and Roll Express still wrestling. You got this guy named Jackson. Eric, you can get the name from me. This guy named Jackson, who's been he's in his 80s, still moves around. He was in the classic territory days, NWA days, or what have you. Small guy, Mike Jackson, I think is his name. The guy's 80 years old, still taking bumps. The Midnight Express. I mean, you can clearly see their. I remember watching some footage of Jimmy Superfly Snuka, who used to be my favorite wrestler back in the 80s. I mean, if you want to talk about who was number one, it was the Superfly.
Yep.
And I saw him I mean, broken down, decrepit in these matches, can barely move. Mike Jackson, thank you. Can barely move. I'm sorry.
Wow.
That is sad.
I
I mean, that
remember.
is just very. And again, you talk about rings in a backyard somewhere. I mean, this isn't even indoor. This is outdoor. Some guy, few dozen people around this ring or whatever, and Superfly Snuka crawling into the ring, no muscle. Again, we all get old.
Wow.
Like as
That's
much as I
wild.
train and trying to keep myself together, whatever, I know I'm not going to have this body in probably in 10 years. It's a it's downhill from here.
Right.
I'll just say that. I'm just trying to hang on for as long as I can.
I remember hearing about Terry Funk is another example of it. He was in it for. I remember watching MTV. They did True Life, and they were talking about pro wrestlers, and I think Teddy Atlas was one of them. Teddy Atlas was still wrestling. He was doing the indie circuit. He was dealing with health problems, living in a motel, only making a few bucks here and there. And I remember who else were they talking about? Teddy Atlas was one. And when you saw him,
Tony
it was like,
Atlas.
wow. Tony Atlas, thank you.
Yeah.
You
Teddy,
saw that.
that's the
I was
boxing
like,
trend. Yeah, it's a
wow.
boxing.
Yeah, Teddy.
I was
My
like,
bad.
Teddy
My
Atlas was a
bad.
wrestler.
My bad. I
I got you.
Yeah.
I mean, again, perfect example. Tony Atlas was homeless, like literally
Yeah. And I
homeless for like
saw that.
a
I'm
year.
like, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute.
He was homeless for a year.
I'm like,
I
Tony
mean,
Atlas,
it's
wasn't this
just
the same man
it's
that
just
also
amazing how
and
again
he
this
was
is
also tag team partners with The Rock, with Rocky Johnson. I'm
Rocky
like,
Johnson, yeah, the first black champions in the WWE
and I'm sitting there
WWF at
like,
the time.
I'm
But again,
like,
but even that's the thing too. Even for the guys, if you make it to the top, if you will, if you
Yeah.
want to consider at that time WWF the top, it's again you can only go down from there. You
yeah,
know, I mean, I think Rocky Johnson, I think he was like a truck driver or something like that at the at the end. I mean, he
Salesman. I
wasn't
think he
making.
was a truck driver, a salesman, or some other stuff too. He
right,
bounced
Yeah, I
job to
mean,
job
but
for
he
years.
wasn't, he wasn't like that guy,
right,
anymore. So that's the thing. So again, you even if you get to, because it's like everyone's dream is to get to the WWE, but again, staying there, that's a totally different deal.
yeah,
And again, and how you stay there, I think some of it's work. Obviously your work rate and in your output, but a lot of it is about what at the time. Again, I don't know what it is now, but a lot of it's what Vince wanted.
right,
Him and creative determine your life.
right. And I think
And
also one of
yeah.
the things that definitely helped some wrestlers, most people didn't know. Okay, John Bradshaw Layfield, Ron Simmons. I found out those guys are actual CPAs, and they were helping guys save money.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They were helping them put together IRAs and everything else. Put your money in here.
Yeah. Well,
saving
Layfield, he
smart.
had a show. I think didn't he have on Fox Business or something like that?
I
He
think
actually had a
so.
show for a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
he did.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
And
mean,
a lot of those guys, and I'm glad Simmons and Layfield was able to do this for these guys. They were able to help them put their money to the side. And when you look at a lot of the guys that they wrestled with that are no longer wrestling, they're living okay.
yeah.
They're doing comfortable. They're doing okay.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing
Right.
that they took the time out to help a lot of these wrestlers put their money to the side and save it. I won't be surprised if they help Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, The Undertaker, anyone that wrestled during that time period. I won't be surprised they told them,
Yeah.
do this
Well,
with
to
your
me, The
money.
Rock he's the hardest working dude I think I've ever seen
Yeah.
post wrestling career. He's always launching some business of some kind, whether
Yep.
it be tequila or his Project Rock brand or his energy drinks or whatever. He's just constantly looking at revenue streams, and he's just and he's still an actor. So
Yeah.
so again, I've never seen a guy work that hard post career to try to develop brands outside of his wrestling brand. He's tried to even though he's still relatively close to wrestling, and he's come back to it a few times.
Right.
But he's like, He's got a drive that I've seen in very few people, who just is always just looking for that next a revenue stream.
Yeah.
In a way, I
But
think some of these guys, even the successful ones, like you never hear Chris Jericho, for example, doing something. I think he had a rock band for some time or whatever,
yeah,
but
Fozzy. Yeah.
Yes, it
yeah,
does.
but
Yes, it does.
it's
Yes, it
still
does.
pretty
It's
much.
still they're still performing?
I don't know if they're still
Yeah, they're very
performing, but I'm just saying, but
popular,
he's still
very
his lot
popular.
is still wrestling. Like a
Oh
lot of
wow.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, yeah, he dipped into the acting world for a minute.
And then he had
But
a competition. I remember he had a competition on A&E, the Broken Skull, the Busted Skull Ranch or the Broken Skull Ranch.
yeah,
And he had a competition there and everything else. And I watched it, and I'm like, I was
because
watching the
but he's
competition.
still,
Like,
but again, he's still married to his name, right? I mean, The Rock became Dwayne Johnson again.
right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin did not turn back to, I guess, what his real name.
Steve Williams, I think it is.
Yeah, he didn't go back to Steve Williams, so he's still milking his WWE
Right.
fame to a large extent. But again, we're still talking about very few people. But it's just like it used to be for the NFL, right?
Yeah.
How many players you made all this money in the NFL, and how many stories have you heard 5 years later they're broke?
Yeah.
Either because of medical bills, or they didn't invest their money well, or someone stole their money,
Or a combination of the three.
or a combination of all those things. So I'm sure it happens with the wrestlers. I'm sure it happens with the wrestlers. Boxers, same thing. I mean, you got
Yes.
making, $100 million. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is like, they're saying he's bankrupt. Like all he's
How?
doing is like a facade.
I have
Like
no idea.
he's not. That's why he's coming back. He's got a fight with Manny
I heard
Pacquiao coming up.
I don't think he's broke, but I heard he does have some
But he's
trouble with
not. The guy
IRS.
made $1 billion.
I heard he's still in
boxing.
trouble. But yeah, but he had his own promotion.
Which wasn't doing anything very bad. I know all about Mayweather Promotions. It was a name only. It wasn't. That's why everybody of note left. It wasn't a legit promotion.
And
the
that's
guy
what it
who
was.
was doing his main promotion, he left and joined the PBC entity. So again, it was all shell game with him. So again, it happens to. So if these guys who made millions of dollars, and you find them in several years later that they're bankrupt or broke or certainly not as well off as they thought they were once the money ran out.
Right. It's like
I'm assuming with a lot of these wrestlers, even if you were on top, even if you were a main event wrestler, what's going to be the future for you when you leave? We don't know. I mean, AJ Styles. I mean, think about a lot. And I'm just throwing out names. I don't know anything about his business, but I'm just saying. But some of these guys, like the best of the best, The Rock and Stone Cold,
and
you kind of know where those guys were probably the best. But even Hulk Hogan was like hawking. Before he passed, he was hawking some beer or some kind.
But I remember also with
American
Hogan, he
beer.
went through the. Oh yeah, I remember that, and I remember he had that real ugly divorce with his first wife too.
That
was,
women and kids. That'll take your money also. And a lot of these guys, especially,
he went through a lot through his first divorce. I know through his when things ended with his first wife. The only thing that helped him before his divorce was they had that reality show, I think on A&E, with the
Hogan
family.
Knows Best or something like that. Yeah.
And also most people didn't realize the guys that I think Skaggs and Knobs also were money managers too and helped Hogan save a good portion of his money. He also owned everything. Terry Bollea owned everything associated with the character Hulk Hogan. Everything was copyright and trademarked under him.
Yeah, it was very smart. And the merch, because he came in when he was with he was with the AWA, Vern Gagne would allow him to have rights to his property. Like he started selling merch, like T-shirts. Hulkamania started in the AWA. It did not start with the WWF. Hulkamania started there, and Vern was like, "No," or "I want a major piece of I want a major cut of what you're selling." Hogan said no, and that's why he bounced to Vince when Vince Jr. came, because he was there once before. 3 years earlier, he was in the WWF when Vince Sr. was running things. He was the Incredible Hulk Hogan at that time, had his run, left, because also, and again, Vince Sr. didn't want him to do Rocky 3. That's why he left in 82. He did Rocky 3, joined the AWA. Then Vern was trying to come after his merch. Vince was like, look, you can do everything you want, because Vince was already about that life, about merch,
Right.
and he saw bigger than just wrestling.
And that's why he came up with the character Thunder Lips for Rocky 3. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. But
That's
Vince
right.
went Senior wouldn't let him do it. If that was Vince Jr., he'd be like, oh, you
Because he
gotta
found a
do
way
it.
to make it. Yeah, he found a way to make it work.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you
He
got it.
found a way. And I think the
But
one
the only thing with Vince is Junior, he would have a cut of it always. It wasn't
Yeah.
always about the wrestler.
That's-
It was, and it's business, and you have to understand that. You know what I'm saying? And like, as long as you're under my banner, you got.
But at least, I mean, but for Vince Senior to say, I don't want you doing the movie. I mean, that's.
that was.
I mean, you
stupid,
talk about
that's all.
draconian. That's draconian right there. I mean, you can
Yeah.
always negotiate a business deal or a licensing agreement or something. You can always do that. But for Vince Senior to try to pull that kind of thing on him, he's like, deuces, and I'm out.
Yeah, but I think one of the things that definitely helped Terry Bollea was basically owning everything associated with Hulkamania and the character Hulk Hogan.
Yeah,
Because when he left for WCW, he brought everything with him there.
right.
And then, of course, the major heel turn at Bash at the Beach to become Hollywood Hogan and the
Yeah.
start of the NWO. That was pure gold.
Yeah.
It worked even more.
But even him,
But
I don't
after
think
he
he
was
was
done
like
wrestling-
loaded at the end of everything. I don't think he was like loaded towards the end of his life, though.
No,
I was
but
about to
he
say that.
still
I don't
had
think
something.
he was comfortable. But
Yeah.
that's the most now wrestlers are more thinking now, what do I do after this ends? Before it was like Jake the Snake or Roddy Piper and whatever these guys are. Like $1 Million Man, for example. He lives an average life. They're like, I remember meeting them. $1 Million Man.
I don't know if you want
Jake-
to.
I heard Ted DiBiase became a minister.
Ted DiBiase, yeah, but now he's in some huge
But-
trouble right now. But,
Really?
No, he
his
got
sons are
cleared.
in trouble
He
too.
got cleared.
Oh, so he's
No,
good.
I
Junior's
want
in
to talk about that in a minute. Hang
Okay.
on. So when I met them 3 years ago, 3 years ago, it was an eye awakener for me, guys. Because these guys have fallen from grace. They're quiet people now, living an average life like me and you. They're comfortable,
Yeah.
but they're not what they're used to. Like, that's why Ric Flair is always in debt. He's in huge debt because he lives as Ric Flair, not as
Richard
what's
Flair.
his real
Richard
Thank you.
Flair.
Richard Fleer.
Yeah. Now, because you guys mentioned that, I actually saw a story about that today. Actually, they announced that Mr. Mandela Man, he was cleared months ago about the charges. He's free to go. It was nothing to him. His son, who has been fighting for the last 3 years, is clear. He is not guilty at all. It was not his fault. They're not getting into details to the point yet. They're not releasing all the information why he's cleared, but they will be releasing it in upcoming months. They said.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's part of this conversation I want to have with you guys too. Part of it is you have these guys like, okay, his son, what he knew wrestling wasn't his thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. At least he saw that.
Right.
He didn't waste nobody's time.
Well,
He
which
wasn't a
one?
jerk.
He had a couple sons. One son
Ted
was a
Jr.
wrestler. The other
Ted
one wasn't.
Jr. Ted Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His namesake was also in wrestling. I think that's
He had
his
two
own-
sons, and I think one of them was convicted, though. You still might want to go back and look at that. One was actually.
I'm talking about the one that wrestled.
Yeah.
It was not
Ted
convicted.
Jr.
Yeah.
Ted Jr.
Yeah, that did the whole money scandal thing. Originally with his father, and his father was, what the hell is going on here? But my point is trying to get to, he knew because he was wrestling. I don't remember the group he built. It was himself, Cody, and a third member. I can't remember who was the third member. And they were supposed
Oh
to be
wow.
and they were trying to push the next generation kind of thing, but it never worked out.
Oh, I get it. I get it
Yeah.
because they're all son of big name wrestlers. Yeah, because I think
Mhm.
that was something that's one narrative that actually worked for them. Randy Orton ran on that. Remember, he
Yeah,
was the
Stan
legend
Hansen.
killer.
Randy Orton was the other one. That's right. Randy Orton. He was part
Randy
of that
Orton.
group. All three of them.
That's right, because he's a third generation wrestler also, and then he grew up in the business.
Oh,
because his dad
Stacey,
is
not
Randy.
Hansen, Stasiak. This guy's
Sean Stasiak.
Yeah.
Sean Stasiak. He's also another son of a wrestler. His
Yeah,
father was Stan the Man
Stan the Man
Stacey.
Hayes. Yeah, he was a former WWF
Um,
champion.
who else was
This reminds me of part of the story I want to talk to you about, guys. Also, is when he says Jesse Ventura. I gotta give him credit. A lot of people don't give him credit because he wanted to start a union in wrestling, and I
Correct.
was like,
I
Yeah.
remember
bravo for
that.
you. But obviously, Hogan being a little snitch and rat he ran to
Yeah.
Vince and he put that to a stop. Like, not in my company. I think the wrestlers would be a lot better off if they had a union, health
Oh,
benefits,
definitely.
and money coming in their retirement.
No
Oh,
doubt.
most
Look at
definitely.
No doubt.
yeah, look
And
at
I think
him now.
that's yeah. I think one of the things that helped with one of the things with AEW, and I think one of the things that I remember guys enjoyed about both AEW and TNA, they didn't have to travel a lot. They were only on the road for I think at least maybe at the most 4 months out of the year. A lot of
It's
their
funny you said
promotion.
that. It's funny you said that now. I follow Maven. Are you familiar with Maven at all?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
I
of you guys?
follow him too.
Right.
I follow him as
Yeah,
well.
so
And I
he
met him too.
had
Real cool guy.
who?
Maven, I met him. I met him a few times. He's a real great guy.
Oh,
Great guy
he
to
seemed
talk
like a
to.
sweet
He
guy.
got
Yeah, he
stories.
lives in New Jersey.
He got great stories. If you have a chance to listen to a story, listen to a story. Trust me. I continue,
So
Pete.
and he said WWE is in trouble, and they are in trouble because they're cutting away house shows, and the house shows are very important for everybody. It makes you, you wrestling somebody new. It gives you a feel for them. You understand how it is and all this stuff. And he's right about that. Like if you saw the I don't know if you remember CM Punk and Jey Uso. That thing was a complete mess. The match.
Really?
At it. And now
Wow.
these and the wrestlers are wrestling less. Yes, they're able to recover from a match a lot sooner, but you're also hurting the product in the end of the day.
Because they're doing a lot of wrestling. Because they're not having a chance to recover on time, and they don't have time to rest
No,
up.
they're hurting the product because you don't have time to hone your craft. Like practice makes perfect, like they always say.
Right.
So
Yeah,
if
because
you're
a
not
lot of
wrestling
what we
all-
see, on the TV shows or on the pay-per-views, that has kind of been honed and crafted with the house shows. You're
Right.
doing a lot of house shows up to that point. So when you see SmackDown or Raw, yeah, because we've done why it looks so good is because we've done this a few times.
That's
Yeah.
true. Plus, also, usually if
So
someone's
go ahead.
one of the things also I remember hearing what some wrestlers do is like travel days and everything else, they get settled, and the day of, say, they're doing Raw or SmackDown, they do a walkthrough, they go over the script, they do a walkthrough just to make sure they get everything, everything to look good last minute, especially for the pay-per-views. Sometimes even if they arrive like a few days before the pay-per-view, they're going over script, they might be doing some rewriting, they might try something a little bit different. They do a good amount of rehearsing them the day of the pay-per-view. It's ridiculous. It looks great. It's a masterpiece. So that was the time where they always took time to make sure that they got better and better and better. And the fact that they're getting rid of the in-house shows now is kind of surprising because now they're not. Some of these younger wrestlers aren't getting as much as the ring time that they need to
That is
work
the
on their
point.
mic skills. To work on their mic skills. To work on
Not only the mic skills.
in-ring abilities.
Well, I don't know if that's
Yeah,
working.
because
like I
also
said, it's
you're wrestling somebody new. All right, you have a feel for him. If it is better on a house show versus on a live event, because okay, he's gonna go drop kicking. Oh, I do this. Whatever. So that's why you saw the timing was completely off with Jay and CM Punk. They're
Oh,
both
wow.
are. He said it, and I'll say it. I think both of them eventually one day there will be a Hall of Fame members. No question about that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
But
think definitely for CM Punk, he's very talented in the ring. He has great mic skills. The pipe bomb when he left WWE really put him on the map. And now with him coming back after things didn't work out with UFC and everything else, it's like,
I
yeah,
think
I never
now
left.
he's more mature and he has a better mindset in his body. He's not
Yeah.
as hot headed. The relationship with him and Triple H was horrible at the time. Triple H said he used to go to board meetings with him, and he comes out fuming like that little fucking punk. I believe he's a fuck. He was heated. Now they're gonna have
can
a sit
imagine.
down and have a beer, a conversation. It's cool. They're cool now.
And I think what it was with Punk, he didn't understand the business aspect of wrestling. And I think
It
that's
wasn't
what
only
it was.
that. I think he was beat up. He needed time off. He felt like he continued wrestling, and it would have taken his life. He wanted time off, and he was too hot to take him off TV for a while, and that was
Right.
the issue.
And I
And
think that's when he had the pipe bomb. And I remember, you can tell when he did the pipe bomb, you can tell that was not scripted, that was not rehearsed. That was like, I'm going to get this off my chest right now. And I remember the part when he was in the ring. He said, "This isn't CM Punk talking to Triple H. This is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque." And when he said like their birth names, it was like he just
the
took away that
government
fourth
names,
wall.
pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
it was.
just said,
That is
"The hell with the fourth wall now. Now everybody's gonna see everything that they don't see." Guess what, folks? You don't know what goes on in the locker room, ladies and gentlemen. Check it
that
out.
is a
This is what
difference
goes on in the locker
between
room, and it was like,
that is
wow.
difference between indies and WWE because you don't see that in indies shows.
No, you don't.
You might follow some of these guys on social media, on YouTube and everything, but you don't see the dirty part of the business like you see with WWE. So,
Ooh,
and
I did not
Eric says
know
Paul was
that.
also battling a says injury.
That
Behold,
ooh.
yes, he had a lot of injuries at the time. He needed time off. He was beat up, like I said.
Well, that's the thing,
That is
because
no
Kurt Angle, I mean, he had a ton of situations for it. And again, Vince wouldn't give him time off. I mean, it was like,
You're hot right now. Why take off? Why take off? But at the same time,
if you remember, Kurt Angle said on an interview, he walked into his office. He said, "I want my release now, or I'm gonna kill myself." Not literally kill himself. He said, because
he
he
knew
thought
he
he was
was-
gonna.
he thought he was
Yeah,
gonna die in the ring.
Yeah,
Wow.
because he's gonna overdose or something is gonna happen. And that's where different with AEW and TNA, they gave him the time. They got him the help, the medical. And now with Paul Levesque taking over, forget creative for a minute. As a ex-wrestler, he understands these guys need time.
Yeah.
They need a break. And I have nothing against that. But don't take the houses completely away. Maybe
No.
rotate them.
Find a
Because
way.
So let me
Yeah.
ask you,
helps
since you
them.
guys are close to the action, so do you think the company, well, this might be like a two-part question. It's like, is the company being run better under Levesque than Vince Jr.? Because I keep hearing contradictory things. I mean, yeah, I know they got bought out by this big company and it's all this money and the big shows are spectacular and all this kind of stuff. But are they, in fact, making money? Is it a better situation for the wrestlers themselves? Are they being taken care of better? So, who ran the business better, Vince or Triple H?
Okay, that's a tricky question, Paul. All right.
Yeah,
So
because
as
it's like it's two-sided.
As a performer, a wrestler, he took care of these people a lot better than Vince did over time.
Yeah.
If you wanted his top dog, Vince took care of you no matter what. Vince had a heart. Don't listen to rumors. He was a cruel businessman because a lot of people vouched.
He had his favorites.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was like George Steinbrenner. He had his favorite. If he loved you, it didn't matter. Like, I know Dallas Strawberry. He loved Dallas Strawberry. And
But
even when he was
also,
going through all this stuff or whatever, he took care of-
the difference with Steinbrenner,
Yeah.
he did a lot of good things that most people never know about until sometime later. I remember hearing stories of a lot of good things he did after he passed away. Vince did some
I just
good
found out a story
things
recently. Vince, I can't remember the wrestler's name for my come my head right now, but his mother passed, and Vince reached out to him personally. Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, that was
The
amazing.
guy,
It was amazing.
was it even?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he
Oh
took a whole
wow,
year off, and he still had his job afterwards because Maven was
wow.
very close with his mother, very close.
Yeah. I don't know. It might have been now you said that. It might he said take as much time as you need, but I don't think Maven took a year off. So you might be talking about somebody else, but I know that
Maybe.
same kind of story when Maven's mom was dying of cancer, he did allow him to say, take as much time as you need. And this was again within the first year of his tough enough contract. I think she died that year, the year that he wanted. I think she passed a few months later.
Wow.
So Vince had a heart. Even if you're not even his favorite, all his wrestlers, if he needed to take it, take some time for family, he let you take it, as long as you're straight up with him. But when you were hot and i- injuries or something, he didn't really think it was like a reason to take off. Family, he let you take off. It was
Yeah.
weird with that guy because you don't take up injuries, but he let you take off with family. He was hot and cold. I want to say. Now,
Yeah.
forget a favorite,
Yeah,
just
very
in
sure. Yeah,
general.
yeah.
It was
Like I said,
hard to
he had
range
his
sometimes.
favorites, and for whatever reason, like I said, if he liked you, then yeah, he would do. But if he wanted you gone, it didn't matter.
I
Same thing with
think
like I said, Steinbrenner. He hated Dave Winfield for whatever reason. And actually, he tried to get Dave Winfield out of baseball,
I remember
out of
that.
baseball
I
with him.
heard
So
stories. But
you know what
I
I'm saying?
think with Triple H, the one thing that he is doing, he's listening to the wrestlers. He's really listening to the guys and the ladies as well. He's letting them run the locker room, just like when Undertaker was wrestling, like Vince stayed out of it. Undertaker ran the locker room. Triple H, same thing. He stays out the locker room. You guys have a way of doing things. I remember that. I'm staying out of it. But a lot of the guys, from what I was hearing, he's listening to them more. He's giving them an opportunity to try things a little bit different, to push things, to try to get a little better in certain areas. He's giving them that freedom, which is a good thing. Because Vince
Yes, I
sometimes it
agree.
felt like he would like they felt handcuffed with Vince. There were some things that they wanted to do with their character, and Vince did not want that to happen. Like, no, you're not doing that. You're not doing that. Paul was
I think
like,
Vince in his early years was a great, great promoter, business owner,
yeah,
and a good what was the word?
chairman
A
and everything else.
great creative person.
Right.
In his end of the years, he's
He's stuck
old.
in his ways. He was
Yeah.
stuck in his ways.
Now with creative, Paul, I'll be honest with you, he I might be the one of the few people who thinks this. I don't think he's dropping the ball completely. I think it's a higher somebody above him saying, "No, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this because we're writing a check and that you're going to do what we tell you." And that's where they're dropping the ball because he's kind of having a hard time. Like, well, I've done this for so long. Let me do it my way. Nope, we're doing it our way instead. So
And
it's
he's
kind of like a
frustrated.
back and forth thing.
And he's
Yeah,
frustrated. He's frustrated because he's trying to explain to the higher up the TKO. None of y'all been in the ring. I have. I know how this works. The only other person that's probably on the board of TKO that understands Triple H is The Rock. And I won't be surprised if The Rock is probably telling him, listen, let him handle it. Trust me. Let him handle it.
but you have to understand one thing, bro. The when it comes to the board, there's not one person saying, "Okay, let him listen to himself." They're voting on it, and the Rock is going to probably get outvoted.
And I think that's what pisses him off sometimes too. And I won't be surprised. And put it like this: I won't be surprised if there are times where Paul is frustrated somewhere. Dwayne's talking to him like, "Listen, I did what I could, brother," and I could tell Paul's like, "Listen, I know what you're doing. Just keep fighting." And it's like this tug of war, and you could tell like Dwayne's probably doing whatever he could. But he goes to Paul like, listen, my hands are tied. Or listen, hey, listen, I spoke on your behalf, but I got outvoted. So and I could tell you and these are guys who were wrestlers. They were in the ring. They competed against each other. And Dwayne grew up in this business. So he understands the politics as well. And I could tell there are times they're just frustrated and they're probably thinking to themselves, was this a smart move to have TKO, to partner up with TKO? Was this a smart thing? Almost like A lot of people think
yeah,
probably
especially with everything going. I mean, remember, shortly thereafter, that's all that stuff with McMahon came out. So yeah, if they were going to maximize the money that was being offered, yeah, it had to,
I stick to my guns and saying like Triple H has some great ideas, but he's getting in some terms cock blocked from somebody who's running the track. So no, we're going to do it this way instead. And they think they know better, but they don't. When it comes to creative writing a storyline, I think Triple H knows very, very well how to write a storyline because he did multiple storylines. NXT, great example. He did a great job when he ran NXT. The storylines coming out of that promotion was beyond great. People were tuning in more.
And I think one thing that also helped him, he got in contact with people and they helped write stories too. Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Undertaker. A lot of those guys, he called them up and they would help him, and they were helping too. Bret Hart too. Stone Cold Steve Austin, they were helping out behind the scenes as well.
Like, I didn't know that they were working. I didn't know Undertaker was working with him behind the scenes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like there are times like he was working. I remember one time he contacted him, hey, come out to Orlando and everything else to work with Damian Priest. Damian Priest has always been a big fan of The Undertaker, looked up to him. And I remember Undertaker came out, worked with them, they went over some stuff. They were sitting in a room going over a lot of moves that he did. And the fact that Undertaker gave him permission to do a few of his moves as well, he says, you just can't do the old school. You can do everything else, but you can't do the old school. And Damien has gotten a little bit better. His in-ring, his mic skills and his in-ring have gotten much, much better while being mentored by The Undertaker. And we all know The Undertaker is that gatekeeper of this business. He's been a big gatekeeper. And I remember when I met Maven, he told me one of the things about Mark Calloway, he's going to let you know when you're good. He's going to let you know when you're doing bad. He's not afraid to tell you what's good and what's bad. If you're doing good, get better at this. If you're bad, this is what you need to improve on. And one of the things that I remember Maven said is, if you're in a match against him and he pats you in the ribs, win or lose, that means you got his seal of approval. That's like the ultimate sign of respect. Getting patted in the ribs. And if you ever notice some matches that Undertaker has done against a lot of guys that were just coming in, a lot of guys that were green, and he felt they did something. If you ever notice, if you ever pay attention, he will pat them in the ribs. That's him giving them his seal of approval. Like, you got this, kid. You got what it takes. And that's a good thing. So those are the things that's why I think why Triple H has called some of these guys in. I need you guys to show these young guys the importance of this business. Not the politics, but the culture of the business. Because we're only going to be here for so long. And these guys are going to be in this for a little bit longer So we got to make sure that when we leave, everything's going to be okay and taken care of. And those guys, and they're all about the culture and everything with this business. And you can't blame them. I remember the first season of Tough Enough. Triple H was in their faces like, I will live and die for this business. I take this very serious. When he told them about what happened to Drive,
pointed out some of his nuts were hanging out too.
Oh man!
But Triple H, I give him credit. Like, that's why I'm like, I know this. If Wally was on, me and him would disagree on this, and that's fine. We can disagree to a degree. I think Paul is not doing that bad job, but creative is struggling around really bad.
And he's trying hard.
Yeah.
He's trying hard, and it's frustrating. Listen, I would stay, but I got to take care of something real quick. I have to take care of something. I will hit up with you guys later this weekend and everything else. So
we can actually call it early tonight, guys, if you want.
Yeah, I think we can.
All right, let's call it early. Let's do a quick schedule update. Tomorrow night, we are having an author named Sabrina on. I have to update the schedule. I've been working on it the last couple of days. So, and if you guys go to the schedule, I have updated a bunch of hangout shows. Spartan Arena will be next uploaded, and poll. You have your list coming up soon, right?
Yeah, I'll be putting that together for the next gen training.
All right, and next will be back in the air very soon, and we will have a Gray Area Sunday. Except that, you guys have any final words before we go, or I'll just get out of here?
No, I think we're good. Like I said, I'm looking forward this year if I have an opportunity to go to an indie wrestling show. Certainly, I would like to at least see the experience of, and see what that's like up close. I know for the folks who do go, they're passionate wrestling fans, and they like if you don't want to spend $400. In fact, my daughter, she's going to in fact I think Monday. I think she's actually going to a Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden. I think the ticket's like $400.
It's the
But
Garden, man.
like I said, my wife and I will be out of the country at that point. But certainly, if you don't want to pay those type of prices but see stuff up close, I think indie wrestling certainly gives you that opportunity. And who knows, it's pretty cool to say, yeah, I was there when so and so was in the indies, and and now he's main eventing at WrestleMania or something like that. I think that's great to hear. But I think again that happens. Certainly, those are few and far between. So for a lot of these guys, they do it for the love or whatnot. But it is a kind of pretty sad. If you watch the movie The Wrestler, it's that level. And maybe, in fact, Pete, maybe you might want to have a show on that or a retrospective on a movie like The Wrestler, and because I think that really opened up a lot for a lot of people who weren't wrestling fans. I think it definitely opened up to a lot of people what the world is like, really like for most of these guys, that it's not a glamorous lifestyle. And you talk about the top 1% and 1% who are actually the guys that we see, selling dolls and action figures and all this other kind of stuff. So that might be a future topic.
Like, one thing I do want to say, there are good indie wrestlers out there. Fought 2 is one of the top ones right now. And I'm waiting the day I hear his music and he comes in WWE. I think if they do it right, that's the question now.
Right.
If they do it right, I think he's going to be probably the next big thing, bigger than what's his name? Less than bigger than The Rock, bigger than, because I met him personally with David, and I can see the potential in him. So that's all I have. Anton, do you have anything else before we go?
Yeah, my thing is give the indies a shot. Check them out, the shows. You'll find some diamonds in the rough. You might find some Asian veterans who still love everything about this business, who are also mentoring these young guys. If you want to have an understanding of like how the indies work, or you want to understand like some of the things on, there was a show that came on. I remember that aired. I think it was on Stars. It's called Heels. With Robbie Amell.
Netflix for now.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Great. So check out that show, Heels. It's a real good story with Stephen Amell, the same person that played Arrow, Green Arrow. Thanks. And it gives you, even though it's a fictional show, it gives you an understanding of the independent wrestling scene, the politics and everything that goes on to it, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the indifferent. Even though the show only aired for a few seasons, I think only aired for I think like 2 or 3 seasons. But yeah, if you want to get an understanding of it, that's definitely a show to check out. That's I highly recommend it. All right, fellas,
Yeah, definitely.
I gotta roll.
All right, you take care. Yep.
Y'all gotta have a good one. I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow.
Yep.
All right, guys. As always, this was a Spartan. Sorry. As always, this was the Spartan HQ Network. I can't talk tonight. I'm too tired. This is the Spartan HQ Network. I am the Spartan. He is the president, and my buddy Anton. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.